we go. Here's another episode of Redefining Society and Technology podcast with me, Marco Ciappelli, fresh from covering a couple of infosecurity events. When I published this, it may have been a month ago or something like that, but still fresh in my head right now, where I have to say the buzzword is AI, agentic AI, AI in every form, AI in the SOC, AI helping people to make decisions, generating content, and so on. And some people love it. Some people just not digesting it very, very well. And some people are actually in fear. I saw a post the other day, 2 days ago, where somebody is sending their son or daughter to college in a college in the United States where they refuse and do not allow AI. I don't know if that's a good idea, but that could be up for conversation. It's not the focus of today, although, of course, I love a comment on that from my guest. Eli Lopian, he wrote an interesting book, and for my background in political science and sociology and my fascination with technology, it's definitely something I wanna talk about. AI-Cracy. So thinking like a form of government where artificial intelligence is involved, and it's beyond democracy. That's the title. So, Eli, welcome to the show. This is going to be a fun conversation.
It will be, Marco. Thank you very much.
All right. So let's start with a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what inspired you to actually write a book like this. It sounds like a challenge. So I love some good challenges.
True. So I was actually born in a very religious family. And at the age of 16, I understood this is not my kind of life. And I broke away free from that kind of society. I had to do everything by myself. I ended up founding a startup. We do unit testing and we use AI for it. For about 10 years, I've been doing stuff like that. It's called Typemark. And one day I was sitting in a pub with my friends, and we had this big, huge political shout-out discussion or whatever. And they were telling me, Eli, come with me to this rally or something like that. And I'm like, I don't like rallies. It's like people shouting and nothing coming out of it. And they say, what are you going to do about it? So I told them, guys, this is like people riding this train, and they're arguing about which is the best side to sit in the train, right? Is it the right side because there's sunlight from there, or the left side because there's nicer views? And the train is not going in the right direction, right? It's not going anywhere. It's going to a place nobody wants to go to. And we have to make new tracks and a new way for this train to actually get to where we want to get to. And this is when I thought to myself, okay, what is this place that we want to? Well, what are these new tracks? And that's when I started writing AI-Cracy, looking at all the problems of democracy and how democracy nowadays, it's the best thing we have right now, but it's not really suitable for now, our days and age where people in social media, and we can get bombarded by people outside our countries with messages to make us change our mind. We don't really know what's true or not true. It's kind of like, it's a very, very strange era for democracy right now. They have people strongholding the government and we don't even know about it. People in really high positions. Democracy is maybe not the best solution for us right now. So what is the solution? And that's when I wrote this thing about AI-Cracy.
Okay. So here's the thing. Back then when I was studying political science, we studied philosophy of political thinking. And then, of course, the various form of government. And, you just said something so true. Democracy certainly is not perfect. And I agree with you. It's definitely less perfect now than what it used to be. Now, 51% of the people are the winner, and 49, just rounding up the number here, are the loser. And there shouldn't be winner or loser. Democracy in the antique Greece was actually 100% in the polis. Now, can't do that nowadays. So it's the lesser of the evil. Maybe it's what is best than other things. But sometimes I'm like you. I doubt myself. Is there a better way to do things? So I like the metaphor of the train.
It's actually not
fight.
mine, but
Oh,
it's not my
okay.
it's not my
But I
message.
like it.
I
Like
stole it. I like it as well.
it's simple. Like you're fighting
Yeah.
for which side you want to be, and the train is going in the wrong
Yeah.
direction to start
Yeah.
with. It's okay. So let let me understand your thinking, because AI right now. I made a joke about it, Jantic. Like some people, especially in cybersecurity, is like, oh, it's the easy button, and some other people are like, no, it's actually that's where security breaches can come from, and then we'll let AI fix AI and technology fix technology. I'm not a big fan of leaving people out of the equation. So when I see an AI governing us, I'm like, I don't know. So, but I know it's more than that. So give me the big picture.
So I'll just that point is really interesting because as a child, having my first computer, the dream was this AI. It was a dream that we can create with these machines much faster than without these machines. It's been happening all along with this. If people, it's harder to make movies, and we had these dreams about movies. When the CGI came in, it was easier. We can do that. So AI is just, what we wanted to do in the first place with computers. We wanted them to actually help us with all the mundane stuff and all the stuff that we don't want to do, so we can work faster and get to ideas and creativity faster. And that's what it's doing. So it can be used for good and it can be used for bad. I mean, they invented metal. And they made plows, and the yields of the field became bigger. And they made swords, and they started killing each other. So it's not the technology that is a problem; it's the human nature that's a problem.
Right.
So that's my whole premises around this whole thing. But with the technology, we can do amazing things within governance. And this is what I'm trying to lay this blueprint of how we can do it. It's not perfect. I don't think I see all the dots and the T's of what's happening, but I do have this kind of blueprint that we can discuss, and maybe that's something that can help us have a better society. What I fear is not the AI, I fear human beings. And the thing is that AI is actually a mirror of us, because it takes all what we wrote on the internet, and that's what it says. It's copying us. So this is the things that I'm wary about, and I have a few solutions for that as well. So it's going to be interesting. For example,
yes, let's talk about it, because I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you. It's like when people say, well, AI is hallucinating, yeah, because we are hallucinating.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. So one of the basic theories of my blueprint is that no human being is allowed to write any laws anymore. Only AI is allowed to write these laws. Okay? And he has a goal to write these laws. He has a goal that he needs to. I call it the abundance metric. I had this kind of metric, which is an abundance metric. These laws are supposed to make the society become more and more abundant, which is more happier, more free time, etc., etc., etc. I'm going to deal with what that leads to in society later, because that also has different things. But let's talk about how this thing works. So we have this AI system that's taking data from the web, from the internet, from the people that live in that country or that society, and it tries to figure out what are the best laws to make in order for this metric for people to be happy and to have more abundance. Okay, so that's the first thing that's happening there. But because I'm scared of human beings, I don't have one machine. I have 3 AIs. They are run by 3 different people. One may be the government, one may be the opposition, and one an NGO, and they all have to come to the same result. Okay, if one says one result and 2 says another result, a special group of people have to come together and they have to check what's wrong. Why is one AI saying one thing and the other saying the other thing? Because they had the same data coming in. Maybe somebody's been fiddling with the system, not the system itself. So this is like a protection against human beings fiddling with the system. So we actually get these laws that 3 different systems, 3 algorithms run by 3 different groups get to the same answer. Now, every single law that's written, it also has a guide of why this law is going to make abundance better. So if, for example, the AI says, listen, having a flat rate fine for speeding is not really good for society, because the poor people, it's really hard for them to pay, and the rich one, it's nothing. They just don't give. They don't care about it. Let's have something that I read that happens in Norway. Let's have a fine compared to your income or your value of the state. So you have you have a fine 1% of your income, right? So the richer you are, the more you have to pay. The poorer you are, the less you pay. It hurts the same. Okay, that may make society a much better place. People will feel fairer. People will act the same when speeding. Okay, so this is like an idea that EA can come up with, and it will lay out what the pluses and the minuses will be, and how this law will actually make abundance overall of the society much better. Okay, so this is the first thing about how this thing works. If somebody in the government wants to make a law, he will ask the AI, "I need a law for 1, 2, 3." The machines are going to be the ones writing those laws. What's nice about this is that anybody can offer the AI any law he wants to. Somebody can come up to this AI and say, "Listen," or this system, and say, "What about a law that does A, B, C, or whatever?" And the AI will come back within a few hours or a day and say, "Listen, this is actually a great idea. I'm gonna forward it." Or it can say, "No, this is not a good idea, because if you do that, this other group are gonna, something else is gonna happen to them. It's not a very good idea. Maybe he'll find something else to do that." But people have this thing that they can participate in creating the laws, and they get feedback about why these laws are good and why these laws are not good.
All right, let's go here. So I see a few things in my head. I have a very imaginative brain when it comes to writing fantasy and stuff like that. So I see a lot of sci-fi reference here, but I also I see concrete things like you're talking about, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like a check and balance of power with 3 AI. So you're not just trusting one, you're like, okay, one is fed maybe on, are you talking about like different knowledge base, different training for the 3, like
different algorithms, yes.
Okay. So one will be, I mean, again, it's the balance of power in a way, right?
Yes, exactly.
In a certain way. So
it's
I
checks
do
and
like
balances.
that. Yeah, check and balance.
Another thing that I really think is important is that no AI is allowed to judge human beings. It might make the law. We're talking about checks and balances. It might create the law, but never can an AI judge another person. It might help the judge, but we have to have a human being judging other human beings. We can't have.
So you have like the three law of robotics there for the AI. You're not allowed to judge or harm directly or indirectly a human.
I actually read that book again before I wrote this, and I looked at those laws, and I tried to get some kind of inspiration from them. It's not exactly the same.
Yeah, no, I know it. But it sounds like there are a few principles that they're untouchable, and it makes sense to me. Is there a factor here of, because ideally you will want somebody impartial, obviously, to make the decision. Like I'm thinking like an illuminated monarchy back in the in the Renaissance or after the Renaissance, where somebody tried to be fair, but he has his own biases and so on. Being from Florence, I'm thinking, Lorenzo Magnifico or something like that, but which certainly was not perfect. But my point is,
what was the name of that bridge in Florence?
The bridge, Ponte Vecchio.
Yeah.
That's
where family.
That's where they used to walk from the residence to the government place. But the point here is, I like the idea that you say humans go there with their own idea, the citizens, the people of the land of the state, the government, the geographic area, wherever it is, and they can give their idea. And I'm thinking like this is possible, and because AI could process a ton of information extremely fast, right? So you don't have to wait the bureaucratic time for getting there. So I like that. Is that one of the concepts that allows to bring back the democracy the way that used to be in the square, right?
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Trying to get back to that kind of idea. Also, I don't think AI is very creative. It's generative, but it's not very creative. I think creative comes from human beings. And the only way it can be creative if it gets that input from human beings. If it creates human beings come out, let's create a test, a little bit of a test of society of maybe minimum income wage or one of these other things. Let's actually test it. I don't think AI would be able to pull this up. I think human beings will be the ones to actually push it forward, but the AI can make it faster, it can check it better, and it can make sure that there's no monkey business going on behind the scenes. So this is the way that societies can become actually better.
So what's your, first of all, is your book just a thesis and a theory book, or because I could see a sci-fi fiction book right here. Is that your next step?
No, it's actually something that I think is going to happen if you want it or not. I think that the society that actually goes this way might not be exactly the way I envisioned it, but a society that goes this way is going to be much stronger. And the other societies are going to have to follow through. It's like one company using AI, to write code, and it becomes much faster. And another company that doesn't, is gonna succeed. So
is this like different AI-Cracy for different countries, or are you envisioning a kind of like I don't want to use the word overlord because that's scary, but like one AI at a global level? What?
I think
I'm thinking different cultures. How?
Yeah, every culture with its own set of laws and its own set of AIs. It might use the same algorithm. It'll have different inputs. But yeah, each area has to have its own laws. That's the way. I don't think it's gonna merge these together. There's still a government. People still choose a government, and they have to. Each law that the AI produces has to be voted on. That's one thing that happens. There's a kind of a rhythm also behind this AI-Cracy. There's a rhythm of every 3 years and every decade. So every 3 years, people vote. They don't actually vote for people. They vote for policies. You go to the voting machine and you don't say, I want this person. It's like voting for a doctor because he has a nice Instagram. You vote for actually policies.
Okay.
Right? You have a... Okay,
and then you're really accountable.
Yeah. So these are the policies that I want to be put to go forward. And the AI would take that into consideration and make sure that those things get pushed forward. And it's also...
Are they still representative, though?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so there's still a parliament or the equivalent, a Congress or Senate or... Okay.
Yes, they have to... They take responsibility. They're not allowed to write any laws, though.
Okay. But they kind of monitor, and are they the connection between the AI and the people? What's their function now?
No, their function is to actually vote on these laws. They can ask the AI to get priority in creating laws.
Okay.
And they get first, and the laws have to, and they vote on it. So at the end of the day, it's human beings voting for them. But they can't just say, I want to do this and this law. And the AI would go, no, it will change it to make it the abundance. You have to make sure that the abundance metric goes forward with that.
So the AI is an advisor. It's not the one that is not agentic. It's not the one that implements the law.
It won't.
It gives the feedback to the people.
It creates the law. It creates laws.
It creates it, but then it needs to be approved.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Another interesting thing is that there's a decade, once a decade kind of goal that these societies should vote on, and it's people that are setting these goals, and people vote on it, and it's a decade. You can't change it within a decade. So, I don't know, cure cancer. We want to cure cancer in the next decade, or we want to get people on Mars in the next decade. The people come up with these ideas. They would have to push it and promote it themselves. Again, this is the creativity that AI probably won't have. And once every 10 years, people will choose what this decade goal that this country or region wants to promote. And there'll be funds put into these projects, into these long-term projects. So there's like a rhythm for this thing. There's once every 3 years, you had the rhythm of choosing your policies, and once every 10 years, you'll be choosing that big thing, that big goal that the country wants to achieve.
And how do you see eventually getting there? Because I can't think to this as an impossibility. I think it's feasible. I think we might actually get there. Because
I'm happy. I'm happy you said that,
how
Marco.
would it? How would it be accepted by?
I'm so happy you said it, because like 10 minutes ago you said it's science fiction, and now you're like, actually can see this
Okay,
happening. Yeah.
let me clarify that. Science fiction for me, when you write science fiction, it's originally people thought it was for kids, but science fiction is actually a way to kind of feel the pulse of what society and technology, the possibility are. So when I say science fiction, it doesn't mean the impossibility. I just was fascinated by, I could see a movie or a book based on what you wrote, but it wasn't like oh, this is fantasy. I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
I get.
yeah. So how do we get there? What do we need to do as a society?
So I think before we get there, I think I'm going to put another point, which is also kind of important, and then we'll get to that when we get there. So one of the things that's happening with this AI is people are losing their jobs, or the jobs are getting redefined. And with AI, we'll probably have to work less, because AI can do all that mundane work, and we'll be able to create more. And people might be really confused about that. So in my book, one of the things that I think is really important, that in this society, every person gets either a real mentor or an AI mentor to help them realize themselves, to help them get to the place where they can be and help their abundance feel better with themselves. This is one of the things I think is crucial for this system to work. Okay, so everybody has a right to use this AI mentor or a mentor to ask questions, to see where he is, and after see what he can do, how he can feel better and happy with himself. And one thing is that the data from these mentoring system is never ever allowed to enter the AI-Cracy system. It's like quantum physics. What happens in the quantum area is not allowed to go into the regular mechanical physics. So the AI-Cracy can only see data, or aggregated data of what's happening to the society. And everybody has his own little private AI. The data might be in his own machine or own telephone or whatever. And that helps him become a better person. There's like a system behind it to help people within this crazy world realize themselves and become happier. This is another thing that's basic for the system to work, the way I see it. So how do we get there? I think it's going to be small steps. The first thing is that AI is going to help create these laws anyway. I think AI is being used, or machines are being used much more than what we think, and they're being implemented in many more places that we don't know about. And actually, what I'm saying is just show everybody where these AIs are actually being used, and that can make things much easier. So governments are going to be using it anyway to become more efficient. And I think laws are going to be passed through these AI systems to make sure. I mean, lawyers use them, so it's going to go through it anyway. And what you need to do is build, instead of using it, in this kind of ad hoc way, let's make a system to make sure that nobody's fiddling with it. That make sure the system is built inherently as a safe system from us to help us become better societies. It's going to take time, but I do see it happening.
So when you look at the news nowadays, I see, of course, news most of the time it's a clickbait, even if it's a great article, but it's still like bring you to the excess of what it's going to be. So we talk about kids and people, teenagers, adults using ChatGPT, which is not a private necessarily at all kind of platform. And they use it as their psychologist. They get advice because even in the healthcare, I've had conversation with doctors that do like the idea of making their workload much easier because of AI, because it could take care of the basic stuff, and people are using it because there is this openness and speed of answer as well. I think that's a factor. And you're not ashamed to ask that stupid question 3 or 4 times to the doctor that it doesn't have the time for it, or it doesn't know how to explain it in, in 5 words, simple to understand. So people are using this, but in the news it's coming out not only that people use this, but you can subpoena ChatGPT, or if something happened, the government can have access to this private conversation. Meta, apparently third-party vendors are able to see private conversations. So I think trust is kind of at the core of the acceptance for this.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's where I am not so sure.
So that's why I said those two systems are separated, because of what you said. But when social media came up, I said, people are crazy. Why are you sharing all this stuff? And I think that people are sharing more stuff in social media than they do in AI. I mean, it used to be people were really scared to put things on the cloud and to put things into social media and everything. But everybody's doing it now. I mean, they're putting everything. People are writing things in social media which are completely illegal, and they're just showing off with it. It's there, right? Yeah. And they may be doing it by joking. You don't need to go to AI to understand this. You just open their TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, and you'll see everything. You'll see one side of it. You'll see it.
So you think there'll be an acceptance? We become more accepting about our relationship with AI.
People in the beginning, and my customers, they were scared to put code into the web because something's going to happen, maybe something, and now they're doing it. Their code is up in the web, it's in the cloud somewhere. They're using AI to do it. So people are going to get the benefits are so much more than the risk that people are just going to start doing it. This is why I see where society is going. There should be rules. You can't be open for everybody. You can't. Look at the user agreement, privacy agreement, and I'm sure there'll be companies that will be more private and less private. You can choose which one you want to go to. But it's going to be more and more acceptable, just like what happened with Google.
So as we wrap here, and I think I have to look at the watch here because I could talk about this forever. But
so can I.
Maybe we'll do it a second round. But let's go back to the beginning. So in the beginning and we were pointing hallucination, and maybe we didn't touch on biases specifically, but maybe that's what we need to do. And we said, summarizing, AI, it's not so good in being creative. AI, it's good in processing data. I think it's great in logical tasks, obviously. But it's also pretty much the mirror of us. And that's the good and also the bad, because we're far from perfect. And that's my argument, again, when we point the finger to what AI is bringing up to surface. I feel like this has been one of those moments that we're actually looking at ourselves as humanity in a mirror, because the AI is, ingested all our knowledge, and it's who we are. So if finally some biases, we can see that that's how society works at different cultures, at different biases, and so on. And unfortunately, the training of the AI is not necessarily done democratically. It's data from certain countries, certain cultures. So there are, democratization here, if you want to use that word. So how do we create, in an ideal world, an AI that it's kind of clean, that is clean from biases and could really be objective about?
So I don't think we could actually, and I don't really know how to do this, and I think it's out of the scope of my knowledge. But I love the tension. I think being human and having a human society is that tension between what we believe in the past and what we believe today. And I think that tension is built into this system that I'm trying to create. I mean, there is a council of professional people that are, check the AI and check the laws that it creates and make sure that it's not biased and stuff like that. There is a kind of a function like that. People, that are voted, chosen from the government, and they're swapped every few years and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So there is a mechanism for that. But again, like I said, the private conversations we have with your mentor are not allowed to go to the AI, because there's always that tension of our freedom as a private and the society as a whole. The tension has to hold. That's, I think, part of the human experience, and I want that to continue. I think that's nice, that you want something and you're going to fight for it, and what are we going to choose this 10 years? Going to be curing cancer or living in Mars? I think that tension and that kind of creativity is very good for human beings. And I think it's something that we want to keep. We don't want to live in a place where the AI just tells us exactly what we want to do, and we become lazy and stuff like that. This is not the way I vision it. I think humans have to go through that tension. I like that.
Yeah, no, I like that, and I think that's the way we need to use. Actually, I think there is a big lesson there into even the way we interact now with the different generative AI. It's not to blindly trust it. It's to, for me, it's a brainstorming, right? It's kind of like getting different perspective and knowing that nothing is perfect, and so nothing is perfect when I talk to another human being anyway. For what
you have to express yourself what you really want, and you have to see, the first thing that comes out of AI is this vanilla answer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. If your question is very generic, you're going to get a very generic.
Even if it's not generic, you get this vanilla, and then you have to start, pounding it. Wait, what about this? What about that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the programming, but on a higher level. You have to be there. You just don't accept the first answer there, because you have to really, find for yourself what you really want to, and that's good. I like that. But it's not easy. It's not like just I'm going to throw it in and give you the answer. That's not going to work.
Well, look, here's the thing. The thing I like the most about your theory, and I haven't read the book, but I'm making a point of doing that, is the fact that it actually seems to me is a great way to give the voice back to every and single one of us. Not just when you go and vote, right? But actually on an everyday basis. You have a thought, you think you could implement your community, your society, your small town, or your big country, or the world itself. You have actually something, an entity, an AI that it's going to listen to and aggregate that with maybe other 3 million people that are thinking the same way you do it. It's really like giving voice to democracy. So I don't know if I'm being a little bit utopian here, but I like where that's going.
So I actually looked at all the cultures and how cultures became cultures, from the the beginning of Neolithic people, and how they actually chose and how the chief ran it. I got one whole chat about that, and how we can make democracy nowadays with all the, not a small 30-person tribe, but huge countries, how we can get that same feel of being together, of working together, as needing each other to survive and to have that voice into our big society today. That was kind of like one of the things I was trying to get to with this blueprint. But I'm happy that you can see that.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm thinking the sociological theory about 150, I believe that's the number, if I remember correctly, that is the maximum amount of people that can have meaningful relationship one with another before you need to break the group into two groups again. And that's been applied to discovering tribe, actually, that by sociologists and anthropologists, and then apply it to experiment on the workforce. And what is the maximum? I think like that maximum number with AI could grow, and that could be a good way for democracy, of course, with privacy. I mean, a lot of things going on in my head right now, but what I would say is this.
I'm happy that makes you think.
And that's the goal of my show. Like, I want people right now that have been listening to us not to say, well, this is BS or this is great, but to say, let me think about it, right?
Yes. And if you have a better idea, tell me.
Yeah,
great.
Absolutely.
I want to hear it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do, of course, I'm going to put the link to the book and the way to connect with you in the show notes. If people are thinking right now and going a little, overheated in their brain, that's good. I am doing that right now. I'm really thinking it. So I love that you put all this time into this, and based on your experience with AI and technology in general, and like people should just not just blindly refuse something or accept something, but make your own decision in between the black and the white and the various shade of gray. It's not easy, but that's what makes us human with our imperfection. So I really appreciate you coming on. I'm glad we had this chat.
Me too.
Yeah,
let's make that new railway together.
Yeah. We could do that, and let's see if the train is going in the right direction instead of just fighting over the view to the left or to the right.
Exactly.
Well, Eli, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
and I want to thank everybody for listening this far. If you lasted until the 36 minutes, means you found it interesting. Otherwise, you probably drop us a little bit earlier. This is Redefining Society and Technology podcast. I also have a newsletter, so if you go on my LinkedIn, you'll find it right there. And that's exactly the stuff I question constantly, all the time. So society and technology, and how we can maybe have a better society because of technology, not the other way around. Everybody stay tuned. Eli, thank you so much again.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.